Hello everybody, this is Alex from Hardcoring Guides, bringing you my Splatterhouse Brutal Difficulty No Upgrade Run. And today we are doing Phase 1 of 12, entitled Satan's Masque. So, I'm going to go ahead and preface a few things real fast, and talk about what all the No Upgrade Run is going to entail. And of course, I'm not going to be upgrading anything. However, I did take a poll, and people, gave me feedback and said that it was completely fine to use the abilities that you unlock, essentially. Well, at first I kind of forgot about, you unlock Splatter Slash and Splatter Smash, but those are not upgrades. You just unlock them throughout the game. Same thing with the charging triangle move. That's something that you unlock later, but again, they're not considered upgrades because you don't really actually go to the upgrade menu and buy them yourself. They are unlocked in the upgrade menu, but that does not mean that they are upgrades. So, I think that's probably fine and fair to say. Hopefully everybody kind of agrees with that. And for those that did vote, you kick a lot of ass. Just saying, you kick a lot of ass for that, because I was kind of hoping that nobody would really mind that much, and thankfully nobody does. Everybody just kind of feels like, the Splatter Siphon is fine. And if the Splatter Siphon's fine, then so is Smash and Slash, I would assume. And then they said, Berserker mode is also fine, so why not? As long as they don't upgrade anything and what have you, we're pretty much good to go. Something else I want to preface real fast too is this game has 12 levels, and I have 6 masks. I have the PlayStation version, of course, so I'm going to be stuck using the ones you got on PlayStation. I think is just like one mask in comparison to the other one. I don't have the Xbox One, and unfortunately it's not backwards compatible with the latest Xbox Series, so even if I wanted to get it, I wouldn't be able to play it on there. And yeah, I'm just going to be, every 2 levels, I'm going to be using a specific mask. So for these first 2 levels, I'm going to be using the original Terra mask, and then as we go through, I'm going to switch them up. So just kind of make things a little bit more interesting. Now, I want to go ahead and say real quick that this is not going to be a guide necessarily. I will give you tips and advice, but I wouldn't necessarily treat this as a guide per se. If you want to, that's fine. I'm not going to stop you, of course. But like I said, this is just going to have general advice, maybe possibly some random tips here and there. But for the most part, it's just going to be a no upgrade run that I just kind of hope people can find enjoyable in some way. And speaking of tips and advice, these are I think they're called Terranoids, if I remember correctly. These little turds are quite common and quite annoying. And they have a lot of really irritating moves that can completely destroy your health. So that's something to kind of be careful of. Of course, anybody in Brutal Difficulty can practically destroy your health, but these guys are quite numerous and very annoying, especially when they, surround you. However, if they are attacking you, just don't forget to block if you're going to be, doing an upgrade run of your own. I know I said this is not a guide, but here I am. It's in my blood, man. It's in my nature. So, what can I say? But yeah, if they do surround you, just try to block more often, dodge out of the way. Sometimes if you get hit, you can end up in a stun lock. However, it's not a true stun lock because you can just essentially roll out of it for the most part. So, it wouldn't be a stun lock now, would it? There are enemies in this game that can stun lock you, though. That's also something to be careful of. Rolling this game does have iframes, but it's very far in between. And there is an unlockable ability that you can upgrade to later on in the game if you were playing this, with upgrades. And that's the Invincible, which allows you to pretty much just dodge roll out of anything. And not having that upgrade throughout the entire game did make the game just a tad bit harder. But to be fair, a no upgrade run of Splatterhouse isn't really incredibly hard. Surprisingly. So it's got some points that did actually kind of scare me. And that's, of course, the clone Ricks that you fight in chapter, I think, 5 and then back in chapter 11, I believe. So those guys are, quite annoying. But for the most part, in the first few chapters, I'd say the first 4 chapters, a no upgrade run is perfectly capable of being done on Brutal Difficulty. It's not, the entire game is capable of being done, to be honest with you. I actually did it just last night, so yeah. And like I said before, I don't know why I have to repeat myself. I'm just making sure that everybody is, on the same boat as I am. That the splatter abilities that you unlock that the game gives you for free will be used. And if that's not a true no upgrade run, then, I don't know what to say besides, sorry about that. But I didn't technically upgrade anything. And that's just how I'm going to be going with it. And for those that might not think that's a true upgrade run, or true no upgrade run, then, they could probably try it themselves and try to do without Spider Siphon, which I feel like it's possible, but it's a lot harder, especially without Berserk, because the clone Ricks are very, very, very painful to deal with without it. However, I do believe it's possible. It's just that this was the type of run that I felt like, I think Berserk is just kind of almost needed in some cases, or at least needed in, whenever progress gets hindered, but I'll use it along with the Spider Siphon. I'll use it whenever I feel like it's okay to use it, basically. I'll try not to use them too much, but I'm not going to just limit myself to where I get, hindered, because, again, on that poll, I did ask if, I should, limit to where I get hindered in the progress or whatever, and nobody really voted for that, so I'll just use it as I see fit. And since I am a perfectionist of some sort, also just ignore some of the weird graphical glitches that this game has. My copy is old as shit. I bought it back in like 2011 or like the end of 2010 when it came out, somewhere around then. I bought it like a year or maybe less than it came out, so I've had this thing forever now. And it's been showing its age. It's got wear and tear, and you'll see a lot of frame rate issues, but other than that, like, this game is just great. It's practically almost near perfect for a game. I've always enjoyed this game a lot. Also, this door won't open until you get your arm back, which I just kind of want to show that off too. I think it's kind of cool. I tend to do that a lot in this run, is I'm also trying to go out of my way to just show off a few things that kind of get overlooked for details that people might just be, blasting through the game or whatever. I might miss a few of them. I'm not saying that like I do everything possible. It's just, it's one of those things where I kind of want to show you guys some more of the creative aspect of Splatterhouse and just show some neater details that people might not normally see. And also, this combo right here, this square combo right here, I want to talk about real fast. It's a really, really damn good combo without having upgrades on, because that third hit on the smaller type of enemies, not the little golems we fought, not the guys that die in 2 hits. I don't know the exact names of them. But these guys, I think they're called zombies. These guys and Terranoids have a thing where if you do a full triple combo on them, you can put them in, at least with Terranoids, the small ones, you knock them back. With these guys, you can, sometimes, it's not completely random, but sometimes it kind of feels like it is. We'll definitely see it when I fight them later, and that's where, when you're doing a full combo on them, you pretty much kind of like break their back, and they kind of just, have their back, like they're still standing up, but they have like their back, well, going backwards. I don't know exactly how to put this. Words are not coming to me right now. Also, I will be using weapons, and that's something else that I feel like a true, absolute 100% no upgrade run could use. But then again, like, that's, I don't know, that's a little bit much. But if somebody wants to take on that challenge, that's definitely there. Where basically you go through the game without upgrading, you go through the game without Berserk, you go through the game without splatters, and you go through the game without weapons. That would be intense. Although weapons are not, they're not definitely one of those, like I definitely need to have them, but they do make the game just a bit easier to kind of go through, and for the most part, I wasn't trying to make this game incredibly impossible to play. I just wanted to make it as, well, as much of a no upgrade run as I possibly could, and I'm just going by the bare, aesthetics or bare minimum of what that would entail, and of course, that's what I went with, and we did it, so I kind of figured that I could, and I've been wanting to do this for years, actually. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, because I remember I tried it one time, and I don't remember how far I got, but I remember getting to a certain point. I think it was way before Chapter 5, and I kind of felt at that time like I was confident in myself, and I was like, well, I could do it. I could probably do it. And I never challenged myself to do it until now, and I feel really good about it, honestly. Granted, I don't feel as great about it, when I beat Vanquish. That's a different cup of tea, to be honest with you, because when I beat Vanquish, that was just, man, that felt nice. That felt really nice to beat, because that one was just, years of just pain and misery trying to go through that. But this game, I've played it enough to kind of understand my limits of what I can do, and I kind of felt like, yeah, I could do this. Also, something to keep in mind is that this game is extremely janky, and I think that could just be my copy, but I feel like that's just everybody's probably. And I have gotten so used to the jank that I've actually kind of figured out most of it. So You'll definitely see some weird stuff that I end up pulling off, especially later in the chapters, and just keep in mind that, again, like I said, I just kind of understand the jank. Oh, yeah, also, with the zombie guys, if you're fighting them without weapons, because usually it takes you about, like, a couple weapons to kill, like, a couple weapon hits to kill them. And also, I'm doing the jumping triangle move just to make my life a little bit easier. It has just faster attacks and what have you, and it's just easier to kind of recover from, so that's what I'm going with. I don't do this very often, but kicking enemies also is kind of something that, you know, is pretty good. And, of course, sticking them to walls and trying to beat them up. Look at that. That was 2 attacks from, like a small little minion. Almost nearly killed me. And, oh, yeah, whenever you glory kill, you get health back. I should probably say that, too, just in case. This is why using Spider Siphon, you know, was kind of a question, too, because I was like, I mean, I could technically just get away with not using it, but... Yeah, so... The weapon, like, I jump and press triangle, like I said, and sometimes it takes about, like, a couple of hits to kill somebody. What else was I trying to explain that I completely overlooked? Oh, yeah, whenever you're fighting zombies, or... I guess we could say, like, mid-sized enemies, like the ones that are kind of, like, more standing enemies, like clowns, zombies, and such. Whenever you knock them back, they have a retaliation attack that they can do, so just be careful of that if you're just playing Splatterhouse in general, I guess, or whatever. Again, I know I said this is not supposed to be a guide, but here I am, doing what I do best, and that's just talk about guide stuff. Oh yeah, also, bookworms. They give you blood, and they also give you necrometer, too, so use that as you will. And this is the Terranoid Master. I don't remember exactly what his name is, but he's a Terranoid as well, I believe. These guys are somewhat kind of a pushover. This is like, I think, Phase 1's boss. Something about this, just... I should have learned at the time. I learned it later, not too long later, but I do eventually learn it. And that's to not just run away from him, but to dodge to the left or right. It makes it much easier to deal with. And that holding triangle move, that's going to come in play much later. Also, look at that. That did so much damage. But I'm pretty confident in my skills because, you know, he's pretty much close to being dead. And I've practically got this at this point. So, get him down to red. Going for the kill. There you go. Simple, and that should be Phase 1. Kind of sucks for, you know... I mean, the boss could have been better, but, you know, hey, it is what it is. It's just a guy we're going to fight later a lot more often. But that's it for Phase 1. I'm just going to show you real quick that I didn't upgrade anything. Just to make sure, and yeah. So, take care, everybody.